I'd like to speak very briefly about Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Toronto is Canada's financial capital. It is also the second largest financial services hub in North America after New York City in terms of industry employment. It is unique among international financial centers for its combination of global financial companies and innovative IT firms. There are about 12,000 financial services companies located in Toronto, Greater Toronto region. There are also about 19,000 IT companies in the Toronto-Waterloo technology corridor. So that unique combination of both the talent pool that understands technology, but also understands how customers are using that technology, provides a great base for fintechs to test and develop and implement their technologies. Areas of excellence, Toronto and Ontario more broadly, are known for blockchain technology. They've recently established a blockchain research institute, or blockchain institute in Toronto. For artificial intelligence, you may be familiar with the Vector Institute. It's a world-renowned center for artificial intelligence, and many companies that are working in AI, which we can speak about another time. Blockchain, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. There's also a cybersecurity institute in Ontario. So these are some of the areas of excellence. One of the soundest banking systems, of course, in the world is located in Canada, you may be familiar with, and a regulatory environment that actually encourages innovation. So time doesn't permit me to elaborate any further, but I welcome your questions. Thank you.
You should. It's really interesting. So the Loft is the Luxembourg House of Financial Technologies. We are a fintech hub based in Luxembourg. So we are a foundation, not profit. It's a partnership between the Ministry of Finance from Luxembourg and 13 different partners, mainly insurance, banks, and funds. Our main mission is to drive innovation in the financial industry. And we do that by fostering collaboration, again, collaboration, between fintechs and banks. So we have no complex about numbers. Our goal is not quantity, it's quality. Our goal is to put the best fintechs in the world, and some of them are in Paris, in collaboration with the financial actors in Luxembourg. So what's unique about the Loft, it's the Luxembourg itself, because we are the financial center in Europe, and even more after the Brexit.
Okay, good. Maybe, Mathieu, if you could provide maybe your insight in your specific role, if you can explain what you do, so you can maybe comment on what has been said, and maybe provide some kind of general views about this.
Okay, so it's quite interesting to see how the fintech is evolving right now in the world, and our government implemented it from Spain, Luxembourg, America, and Dubai. Some countries were not on the map a few years ago, create big hub and developing fintech and encouraging. It's like the industrial revolution, what's happening right now. And a lot of countries developing that in the sense to encourage the young people and know the next step is to have education about fintech, that some countries are working on it. And I'm quite happy to see all those people, what we have seen this morning, with all those MOU signed and development in Ronde, in Spain, Luxembourg. That Africa also is developing its stuff. And I think the world is changing around that. And it's pushing by government.
Yeah, I think this is quite important. I think we need to be on the same wave, because we'll miss the opportunities if we're not doing that together. Because I think in this globalized world, and because of market size, the winners take soul to some extent, and we got to be ready to do that together, because it's for the good of everyone. So maybe now, second theme that we want to cover is to have your views individually about what do you expect from this collaboration? What do you expect? What do you want to bring? What do we want? What would you like to receive from the finance tech cluster? What we should be doing together that would make a difference? So please.
Our main objective of building this fintech bridge with France is basically to expand the offering, to increase the exposure for the startups to access the business opportunities that are available. Dubai has a very unique location, and it's a very young market. So the first mover, especially in fintech, will take a great advantage. And our focus is looking at growth stage companies, looking at companies that have been through maybe incubators and accelerators somewhere else in the world and are ready to engage with the financial institutions in the region. In the DIFC, we have more than 1,800 companies and financial services based in the center. And this provides a strong ecosystem for the startups to easily engage with the decision makers, demo their technologies, and engage in proofs of concepts. Obviously, there is a government support that's supporting all of this with the funding allocated for investment in fintech. And DIFC launched a $100 million fund for investment in fintech that's going to be used at a global level, not specifically for the Dubai startups. So we would like to invest in these startups. Actually, I have been visiting some accelerators here and talking to startups to see the interesting startups that would have business opportunity potential or would need funding, and would engage them with the right decision makers.
You invest directly? Yes. Good. No, I was asking if it's you who is investing. Yeah? Good. We have to talk.
Thank you. So, thinking about fintech industry, we need to know about the size of this sector. In the world, there are more than 15,000 fintechs, and they have raised more than $100 billion in different rounds. So think about the market, think about the transformation of the fintech industry. So for us, signing this agreement is something very, very important for Europe in this case, because probably France and Spain has the most or have the most important and solvency financial sector in Europe. So we have to push the rest of the Europe to do that. And why France and Spain? When we think about Spain, Spain is the perfect bridge between Europe and Latin America. And we are thinking about we have to connect with all these Spanish speaking countries. But also, on the other side, France is the center of the Francophone countries. So we have to connect not only Europe, but also the Spanish-speaking and Francophone countries to do connect a real hub that can compete against China or Asia and United States. Why I say that? Because if we are not able to push the regulators in Brussels and in Europe and to that, this is really our responsibility. We have to do right now. It's not a question of tomorrow. It's today. Today we have to create a regulation, European committees, European funds to help to co-invest with the VCs in the different part of Europe on other countries. Is going a problem of today. There are other countries that are creating sandboxes, that are helping the companies, and the government is putting a lot of money to do that. So Europe have to do the same, and it's a question of today. It's not a question of tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. So I hope this agreement is going to be the first step to the strategy.
Thank you very much. I mentioned earlier that Toronto really stands out for this unique combination of global financial services firms and financial services cluster and this IT and startup hub. I would also like to flag that there's a tremendous openness in Canada generally, in Ontario, and of course in Toronto specifically, where more than half of the population has been born elsewhere. And there's a great interest in developing business collaborations here in Europe and here in Paris with FinTech community here and with Paris Euro Place. So French companies and Paris area finance innovation members that are looking to expand into North America will find that Toronto is an excellent partner. And the MOU that was signed just recently in March, in fact, of this year, between Finance Innovation and the Toronto Financial Services Alliance, TFSA, will, I hope, encourage these business collaborations, this reciprocal, perhaps, use of landing sites, both in France, in Paris, and in Toronto, and perhaps guidance on addressing regulatory requirements. So I believe there's scope to develop a great many initiatives, and we look forward to speaking with you about it. Thank you.
Just as I said, we have many financial actors having a lot of problems, and our role is to help them solve those problems. We cannot do it alone, of course, and we need the fintechs. So we are already working with 3 fintechs from Finance Innovation. 2 of them are here, High Wave Capital and Decision. And they have already a few clients in Luxembourg. So the goal of this collaboration with you guys is really to find the right solution that you have in your portfolio, but also to help some of the fintechs we have in Luxembourg who are more B2C. There is no B2C in Luxembourg. We have 500,000 population, so yeah, it's quite quick. But we need to have partnership with France and Spain, of course, the largest countries in Europe.
So Mathieu, as a Middle East ambassador, what do you think needs to be done to really make this happen, this collaboration?
Basically, I was really surprised when I meet Raja the first time, because they already a step forward, and the government really encouraged the startup system and the fintech, especially with the fund, as Raja mentioned. And now what we are working on is on the collaboration on education, to create some partnership like MBA with a school in Europe, and to implement that with the education, as well as a fund and exchange between fintech in Europe and fintech in Middle East. And also, that Raja didn't mention, we're working closely with Saudi, which is a big market, with new smart city we will open, because smart city, basically everyone is talking about it in Europe. It's existing in Dubai since 10 years. Dubai is a smart city by itself. And Neom, the new town from Mohammed bin Salman, will be another example. And if I invite you to come and visit Dubai, you will be surprised by all what you're talking on the paper here. It's happening there. Every week, you have a new fintech, a new lifestyle, from the DIWA, which is the energy provider, to pay bill, to a smartphone. Everything is done. It's Dubai is the hub of the fintech. The city is your experience. If you come as a startup, the city gives you the opportunity to put your model in place in town, which is unique in the world.
That's a great example. So, to conclude this roundtable, first, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for your collaboration. I think what I would like to take out of this discussion is that this kind of collaboration with the fintech cluster here is very important for the future. For the finance French community, it gives many opportunities to build and grow faster. And I will encourage any startup to come to the cluster, to the Pôle Finance Innovation, to really discuss what they could do internationally, because they need to address bigger market than just the French market to some extent, if they can have the support. So we're here for that. That's the first message. Second message is that in this world and this is my conviction, in a world where we are seeing regressive temptation in terms of not being able to collaborate, I think this kind of agreements are really supporting multilateralism and not bilateralism. That is probably one of the big risks that we have in the future, given different positioning in the world from different countries. I'm not going to cite them, but I think this is also for the cluster, for the Pôle Finance Innovation, a way to to really make this multilateralism exist in the future, because it's at stake at this point. I think we need to exist I think we need to contribute to that. So thank you for that.
I would also like to add, thank you for welcoming us today, of course, and you should have been with us on stage. But yes, please.
And maybe one thing, without this team here, I can tell you, and the different people that have been helping on that, I think this would not exist. So thank you for that. Thank you very much.
It's a nice conclusion, because all morning we talk about collaboration between fintechs and the financial actors, and we, between the hubs, we are walking the talk. So thank you so much for inviting us.
Ah, merci.